Hey y'all. We are here winning Wednesdays. Miss England.
What's up? How are you?
What's up, Miss England? I'm blessed. I can't complain. How you doing?
I'm blessed. I really ain't got no complaints. None at all.
I know
Getting
that's
ready
right.
for today. That's all.
I know that's right, man.
Working. I ain't worked so hard in my life.
Yo, that's exactly how I feel.
But I see it's like when it's not bad when you work hard and you see the outcomes. It's one thing when you working hard and busy and you just busy, right? So it's okay when you work hard and you see outcomes and you be like, okay. But when you just working to be busy, no.
That ain't the move.
It ain't a move. Like that's a waste of time. You see some outcomes. You know what I mean? Yo, don't laugh. He laughing, man.
No, that's for real. That's facts.
Yes, and I think a lot of people don't understand that. They feel like they busy, they working, and that's not all true.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Basically,
Yep,
you working on a treadmill. You moving, but you ain't going nowhere.
going nowhere. Hey, sweetie, like going nowhere. Like I had to learn that as I got older doing work. Like, what? I'm working, but I ain't going no damn way. And I had to restart planning and doing things and start making goals. Cause I was like, this ain't working. That's why I always ask when we been in a meeting, like, what we doing this for? And I know people be like, this girl here, but I just need to know, is this a part of the goal? Or
Is
we
this
just,
one to go? Yeah.
that's all. I just be trying to strategize. That's all.
Now we on a mission, y'all.
I be trying, y'all. That's the whole thing. I'm trying. I am trying.
Man,
You
I
gotta let
feel
me
you.
know you ready, because I got a good one today. It's about suffering.
Mm,
Yeah, suffering.
that's on time.
Yeah, boy. I was listening to my girl. I'm saying that girl Sarah's bad. I was listening to her and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna use this topic. This is a good topic. It was good. And I was like, this is real.
Yeah, that's real. And a lot of people going through that now.
Yeah, they are. They really are. And then I feel bad for those who suffer in silence though.
Oh yeah, that's the worst.
You know what I mean? Because now that mean their body taking a hit.
Mm. Oh yeah, we gotta get into that.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me know when you're ready, sis. I got my notes.
I know that's right, man. Listen, we probably gonna give it like one more minute, then we gonna go ahead and go. Hey Cam, Cam been rocking it all day, yo. Cam
What's
is
up,
a beast.
Cam? What's up, Cam?
Cam is a beast.
That's what's up. How was the day session?
Amazing. Amazing. We had a great session. Miss Simone and Miss Mo always gonna
Oh
rock
yeah,
it. Miss Kaylin doing an amazing job. And then we had
yeah.
Miss Doreen from the neonatal intensive care unit at Mercy.
Mm,
Yeah.
that's real.
Yeah.
That's real.
Mhm.
Oh, I gotta tell you, we got the call. I got a call. We'll talk about that later.
Oh, all right. Yeah, we might as well go ahead. We might well go ahead and get started. I see y'all trickling in. What's up, y'all? What's up? What's up?
All right. So, hello, everybody. Praying all is well to everybody. Today, the session we're going to talk about is suffering. I came up with this session because it was just coming to me about a lot of pain people going through. But not only that, it really wasn't on my mind. I'm going to be very honest. I happened to look at Sarah T.D. Jakes, and she had a message that was so serious. It was like this girl was looking at the daggone TV straight in my eyes. And I was like, okay, do I supposed to deliver this, use this, or what? Right? But it had me so much in tears that I was like, I have to definitely put it in my spirit, but also share it with my young people, because it was never broken down to me the way it was broke down in that video. And so what she talked about was, first, before we even get into suffering, we have to understand that suffering is the state of underlying pain, distress, and hardship. So suffering is when you're feeling pain, distress about some stress. It could be hardship with money, if anything, you just suffering. And a lot of us, including me, has been going through that, and we have to learn how to channel that. And one thing I was just telling Joni is that people who suffer, like I'm vocal, so I could tell a word that I'm suffering, and I'm okay with trying to get strategies. But those who are not vocal, they're suffering in silence. Their body is taking a hit because it's a mental thing, but it also becomes a physical thing because you're not addressing it. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that she talked about with suffering is that a lot of time when we suffer, we think that our passion that we grew up with just disappeared because we at this period of we suffering. Like it's so much going on that the passion that I might have last week, I might have a good session last week, but it's just gone. And I don't feel that passion no more because I'm suffering in my own pain. And it talked about how your passion is still there, but how do you move past the suffering? And then you see things that say, you have to always remember, and I learned this looking and listening to her video, and it said we promise suffering in our life because suffering brings out, and I always tell y'all every time we go through something, it births something out of us, but it have to be the strong ones that really survive, because some of us suffering and love to be victims based off their suffering they're dealing with, and they love the attention of others rushing to them to support them. And then you ever had that friend, the next thing you know, they got something else going on. It's a hardship, or they depressed, or they have some more pain. They're addicted into the attention they get from the suffering. So they really are not evolving mentally. They're not growing spiritually. They just stuck in that space because they are addicted to the pain, and addicted to the attention. When you have other people who that goes through suffering, and they might not want to tell people because they may be embarrassed. They may be, I just don't want to, I'm so independent. Some things I just don't want to share. Or it just be like, I don't want people to judge me. And those people that honestly, they really grow. Because even though they haven't shared it, they understand it's a solution. And they also understand is that I could get through it. For me, I'm vocal. I can tell the whole world that I'm broke. I can tell the whole world I'm going through things because I'm looking for resources to come my way. And for me, that's a growth thing for me, because once I vocal and say, and then sometimes it may take a while because I do go through the period of what people want to think about me. How would I be judged? But then I go through that as a step, and then I start being vocal, and then all the resources come. But understand, not all resources is good resources, and we'll talk about that later, because sometimes people's opinions can step you in the wrong way where you start misthinking your own pain. You'll be thinking like, wait a minute though, I thought I was going through this for this. Don't allow other people to bring their stuff on you as well. So, we promised suffering, like in our life. It wasn't that we was going to be here and we was going to just see rainbows and all your bills was going to be paid and all your friends was going to be great. Your relationship was going to break. That's not how the world is designed. We are designed to suffer, to grow, and to figure out lessons. People said there's no beauty in sadness, but that's a lie, because it's a process. It definitely is. At the time, it don't feel like it, but it's definitely a beauty of, yes, I got through that, and now I know what sadness looks like, because you have to identify it as well. So you have to say, okay, this I'm feeling is pain, and why I'm feeling this pain, or this is stress, or I'm dealing with this because this is a hardship. I have a bill, or I don't have food in my house. You have to address it, because if you don't address it mentally, it will put other things on you, saying maybe you're not good enough to have that, or maybe you don't deserve that. And then it will get deeper and deeper because you didn't decrease those voices that wasn't aligned to your sadness for the lesson. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You preaching. Even Mark on here like, preach, Miss England. Isis said, I agree. Like, yo, you going in.
So I'm happy. So the thing about this that I realized too, that I knew that it was for me, what she said was, when we suffer, our passion and everything we love, it just go on. We feel like it's going away. It's like, dang, I got this fire today, and my baby, my baby's going to hear me. They're going to get it. And then, when you're going through the suffering, you like, I don't think I got the passion no more. And then you feel like what your gift was has left. And one of the things I realized in going through that, it was like, no, that's not true. It's just that you on pause. And you on pause because what I'm learning is that sometimes before we move to the next level in our passions and our gifts, we try to bring the old rhythm with us to the new space that we need to be in a dimension, right? So I'm moving into this new space of, if y'all ain't know, I graduated yesterday, but anyway, we'll talk about that later. So I'm moving to a new space.
Congratulations.
Okay, we'll talk about that later. So I'm moving into a new space now that, all right, I'm in the HR thing now, right? And I already had youth development, I have community development. Now I'm moving into this new space. And what I had to realize that I had a pause in my life for a minute, like a couple of months, that I was blessed to get out of, but it worked, it blessed my gift because I understand the process, but also it was like whatever you was doing in your old space, with the rhythm that you was doing, you can't bring that to the new space. So what I had to do was I had to be on pause. Like, you know, I had to go through a growth where it may be suffering to others, but for me, it was growth because I had to go through, okay, how do I become this new, how do I perform in this new space to get outcomes, to support people, to gather people, to save lives and to save communities. And some of the things that I realized, and I didn't think that it was a big deal, I had to now reprogram myself to get ready to where God is really taking me. The whole time, you know, one thing she said yesterday, it got me. It was like, you've been a witness for so many people for so long that's walking into their purpose. You just been sitting there witness like, when is my time? When is my time? When is my time? But once you get through your suffering and then you have the tools to move forward, God will put you. He said, now I can suppose you. Because while you were suffering because the people you want to save going to need the authentic you. They ain't going to need nobody coming talking with a book in their hand and talking about the stacks and the data. They're going to want somebody who go through what you go through. And you can't do that if you ain't been suffering, if you ain't been through no pain, if you ain't been through no hardship. And so my gift was on pause for a while. I'm telling y'all, Winning Wednesday pushed my gift up. And now that after I've been doing some things, I really have seen that I understand the parts now. At first it was like, why I'm going through this, why I'm having so many challenges in this area. Why am people coming, why I'm seeing everybody winning, but I'm still sitting here. But I see people winning, but I give people advice to help them win, but I'm just watching. But then I had to realize that it was so deeper than what I see. It was like, because you wasn't finished growing. It was some things I had to do. I had to go through and I had to explore and be exposed and get my things about that. Now I look at it almost like, okay, I get it because now I'm in a position that I've been exposed to suffering and pain and hardship and being stressed. And now I have the tools, not even being exposed about it. Now I have the tools to put a big package together to support not just one person the next door, but to support thousands, to teach 10, to teach them 10, to teach thousands. So when we look at suffering, yo, we just in the process. You didn't lose your passion. You just on pause. It's pause, and it's pause for a reason. And pause doesn't mean get in your suffering and get all your friends and y'all sit and y'all talk about it and no movement is getting done. You have to also understand during the suffering, who's aligned to you to get you to the next space. Those who just coming in and be like, yeah, and they don't, and that's all they say is, yeah, girl, I remember when I've been through that. And they don't really have no tools. They are good for you to vent, but you have to understand who to take your advice from. So for instance, for me, I was in a hardship for a while and I got through it, right? And for me, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is a lot. Like couldn't do certain things with my money. My kids was on strike. It was just a lot. But as I went through it at the time, I had great people like Joni and Katrina that was like, yo, it's gonna be good. You keep doing what you're doing, keep doing that. And at the time, it didn't feel good. And so my best friend who was watching the whole time that I love dearly, she was just watching, like, you always get us through, because we grew up in the same environment, you know, parents not giving us what we need. So it's like we grow from each other. And yesterday it really hit me when we had a conversation, and she was just like, how did you get through that? And I was like, God, I get it. Because now I can help her to get through something that I've been exposed to. If I never would have been exposed, I couldn't never support. But at the time, I thought it was my pain and my hardship and that I couldn't get through it. And I was like, why me? But now I get it when you have somebody that you love and they just like, yo, I'm going through the same thing. Can you give me that? And it's like, oh, I can help you. What we got to do? Right? It was all because I was exposed to suffering and hardship. And it's okay. And I don't want us to, when we go through something, say, oh, you know, it's just me. I don't want nobody to know. I'm telling y'all my story. You know, I never tell y'all nothing that I haven't gone through myself. It's because we're suffering to support other people when you go through the process. Now, when you're going through just suffering because you like the attention of people coming to you, to always bailing you out, and you like the attention of being in pain, and you know you can't get through it, and you don't have people giving you tools. I'm talking about people pushing stuff at you and you grabbing it, but you still going through that same cycle. You're not ready. You're not ready. And the sad part for them people, and I see it from your age and to people my age, is the sad part with them people is they don't understand how many people are connected to their suffering. So if they never get it, that means the people that's connected, that pose to get the lesson, they won't never get it. So that means the people who like us, that figure it out, and we got to work harder, because the person who lesson it was on, to go through the suffering, they don't have the lesson because they want the attention. So we got to work harder to make sure our community, because this is about us, this is about how we build each other. So we got to work harder, because this person wants attention all the time. And the whole time you like, why everybody keep coming to me? Everybody keep coming to you because the person that's supposed to provide the lesson is caught up with just being in the head, being attention seeker. And that's why we overwhelmed. So any questions if I move on to the next thing?
No, you ain't got no questions right now. Cam just said, with experience comes wisdom.
Oh my goodness, Cam, I think that's the best thing. And I think people, and that's even with suffering. Like people think that, you know, suffering, you know, you meet people that go through stuff and they come from the hood or they've been through so much, and then they move away, and then they move into a caliber of people who don't have no pain. And I just be looking like, so you went through all that for what? Because, you know, you ain't got nobody to give it to, right? Because everybody runs away from that, but don't understand, as a human being, it's our duty. We go through certain things for a reason. We don't go through it so we can just save ourselves and to move forward for us. We go through it to bring it back, because it's a community. That's a part of being a human. You have to connect and show, yo, this is what I've been through. Let me help you move forward to this. And the thing that got me yesterday when she says, you know, you've been on pause and you trying to figure out why I keep witnessing everybody else winning. What I learned about people winning too is we only see the outside of the win. We haven't seen it, what they've been through behind the doors. We haven't seen them crying. We haven't seen them being kicked down. We haven't seen them when it didn't go right, they trying to figure back out. All we see is the win. We ain't seen the pain. And they had a pause too, where they had to figure it out. So I said to myself, I said, wow, that's deep. Like, wow, you know, we do witness the win. And then we do say, Dad, they did it, but we don't see the work that people have to put in to win in our eyes. And what winning looking like? Because to everybody else, winning looks different. So don't feel like when you're going through suffering that you lost it. You didn't lose your gift. You didn't lose who you are. All you doing is going through another process that pick you up to a different level. Because once you go through, I'm telling y'all, the best thing I could have went through was the hardship for me, honestly. Like, really was the hardship, because it brought so much light to where I'm going in life. And then I also thought about too, if I want to one day have my own business, I got to learn how to manage it like my house. You know what I mean? I got to learn how to manage the money so I don't go and do something stupid. So I understand it now. But during the time, it was like, oh my God, this is a lot. But I'm telling you, when you get through, you can be able to grab a couple of friends that's younger than you or in your same space. You're going to have something older and be like, I've been through that. Let me help you strategize on how to put a plan together so you can get this to where you can make it better. Because this is the thing. If we can get all our friends to work on the stress, the pain, and how to manage the money, because think about it, a lot of us wasn't never taught that. So we can do it as a community. Just think of what we can do for the community in Baltimore. Just think about it. The pain, people are suffering, people are in pain, people are going through hardship. But if we could come away to find out, all right, so you know what? You take West Side and this zip code, and I take this zip code, and I take this zip code. And we just meet up with people and just at these community meetings having conversations about pain, suffering, how you manage. I'm telling you, y'all, it may at first they don't want to hear it because you're going to have to fight against, you know how that is. You got to go and fight against the world. What is that? When they first hear it, it's something they don't want to hear. And then you really be doing God's work. So you got to always the enemy. Let's just be honest. But just think about what we could do collectively. It would be amazing for us, you know. So I need us to understand, like, don't give up on your suffering. It produced glory. It produced a product. It produced faith. I'm telling you, that's the best faith I ever had. I ain't never had no much faith, y'all. I ain't even gonna lie. Like, they used to say a faith was a mustard seed, a mustard seed. When I got finished going through this hardship, it was no mustard seed. It was a car. That's how big my faith was. A car. And I ain't even have a seed when I started. Because I ain't was like, I don't believe it. But now when you go through the process, it's not even about a church. It's not even about a religion. It's just having that awaken among yourself as a human being. I'm telling you, it's amazing. So when I notice that things happen and I might not feel, and my body might be like, you know what, here you go again, back to how it used to be. I have to immediately be like, nope, let me challenge this. And then when I've seen it happen, I was immediately like, dang, I got this. I'm all right. You know, like my supervisor gets on my nerves sometimes, and I love my wife, right? And she came to me and was like the day about a project and was like, I need you to go back. And in my mind, like, I did it right. And I'm going back and forth because I started being mad now. So I'm like, she just trying me. So when I came back from taking my kids out and I got to my computer, something said, print it out. When I printed out, y'all, it was a hot mess. But I wasn't going to print it out at first because I was so in my mind, like, no, they coming against me. They don't like me. When I printed it out, I said, okay. I had to send an apology back. Like, oh, you got the wrong one. I'm sorry. That was a draft. You know, and then she was like, this is amazing when I got finished. But it's stuff like that will still pop up that will make you feel like, no, it's my gift gone, or I ain't do right. I ain't gonna never be right. We gotta fight it. And that's something that I will always fight with y'all. Like, we gotta fight the voices. And I'm gonna be honest, once I produced the project again, I felt good in the spirit because I knew I overcome something inside me. It wasn't even about what me turning it in. It was just about me. And when she was like, oh, you ain't had to give it to me there, I said, no, I told you I was, and I'm just going by my word. But in my mind, I was like, I'm glad I did print it out and look like this was a mess. You know, so, you know, you got to fight yourself sometimes. Sometimes we be hating on our own selves. You know, we be being too hard on our own self, making a hard time for our own self. I'm one. So I have to work on that. Any questions for me, Johnny?
Yeah, just some comments. You don't have no questions yet, but I love this what Can said. She said that when people do that, talking about when they want the attention, that they are wasting wisdom. And she said when you were talking about like how you see other people winning, she said you see the cover, but you ain't read the book. And she said that she got to start treating her business more like her baby.
You do. And I think that's what people don't understand. They always say, like, you birthed inside them when you starting a business. That it's just like a baby. You have to do every step. And one thing I learned too, you can't miss a step. Like with a baby, when it first come up, you got to give it love. You got to get them in milk, and then the next step is they got to teach them how to walk and eat on their own. I can't just have a baby and then they start walking, right? Because then I miss a step of what I really need to learn to make the baby successful. So it's just like a baby. I'm telling you, just like having a baby. And you got to push through when it gets hard, when you have times when you like, why I'm doing all this? You got to push through. That's why before y'all came on, I was like, you got to figure out your goals. Because if you just doing stuff and you ain't got no goals, then how you know what you completed? Like I was just telling Joni, it's just like you just being business and saying, I got a business. But then we like, all right, so what's your goals? So how we going to get to the goals? And you like, I ain't make that yet. Then you just being busy.
You on that treadmill, ain't going nowhere.
Ain't going nowhere. You just saying you just got a daggone business. That's it. You gotta have some goals, yo. We gotta do better, because I felt like we have been robbed from what we can produce and how we can produce it because of our suffering. And if we can get a handle on how to understand that our suffering is not a bad thing and is to produce, I guarantee you we can have successful business that everybody, could benefit from. The community, the young people, everybody, everything that it's supposed to do. Anything else, man?
Yeah. No, you good. You all caught up. There's some good stuff though, Miss Angela.
Yeah, and it's okay, to be exposed, and sometimes, not all the times. Some things you don't want to be exposed. Okay, let's keep that real. But if it do, we can come out of playing how to work on that. But it's okay to expose some things when it comes about supporting other people. It's okay. Because I think people get scared about exposure, especially in this world of the internet where everything is going on. And it's like, I just don't want to be exposed. And I get that. But if you had a hard time and you suffering and you having a hardship in your business and you found the way through your suffering to get through that, it's okay to expose that. Because you can help somebody else that's young to go through that and say, you know what, I did have a hard time in my business. And I'm going to be honest, people will attract more to you because you're authentic. Everybody now just want to be, I'm so hard, I ain't never been through nothing, I got all the money, I'm great. But how? I can't really relate to you, especially if you have a business for service. And then you do have people that do that and can be great in it, but that means because they have been through something or they know somebody or supported somebody. But those who I just got it all right and I got it all together, I don't know how much you can help me because I don't have it all together all the time. And I'm going to be very honest, and I'm so honest, but we have to be honest as a community to say, we've been through that. Because that's the issue. Everybody don't want to talk about the suffering, the pain, the stress and the hardship because they're afraid or they don't want to be judged. But at the same time, because you're being afraid not to be judged, you're making negative decisions because you don't want nobody to understand what you're really going through. So if that is like, all right, I don't want nobody to know what I'm going through, so I'm going to hit this corner to do what I got to do because you just so don't want nobody to know. That's what I mean by negative decisions, or you doing things that is just not true, but it's like, I just don't want to ask nobody. I don't want to know. And sometimes people don't want to have the money to give it to you, but they might have a resource for you to work for the money, or a resource to say, you got to apply for this. You got to put the time in. People think they're going to be successful overnight. No, you got to put time into this. I was the same person thinking, all right, if I already did this, I'm going to be successful. I ain't thinking about it. I got to put time in this. I got to make sure I write this up. I got to make sure that I reach out to this person. It used to feel good just to say I was doing it, but it wasn't doing nothing. Or like, Mama, you said you was going to call me, and I'd be like, yeah. And I'd be telling somebody, yep. I'm sorry, yo. Oh, what just happened? Okay. And I'll tell somebody like, yeah, the mayor asked me to call him at 10 o'clock. And the man probably did ask me. But because I'm just in my mind caught up with who I am, and I'm like, what they want to ask me? I'm scared I might can't deliver. All them things. I tell that whole world, yep, the man told me to call him. The man told me to call him. And I ain't do nothing.
Wow. Did that really happen?
It didn't happen with the mayor, but it has been so many places of networking, because I used to be a commissioner of housing, that I would meet people that I knew could take me to the next level. And they would give me their cards and I'd be like, call me, or I'd be on panels and people say, call me. And because I was think I'm just this girl from the hood, what can I offer? Or I can't talk like them, or I can't dress like them, I wouldn't never do it. But I would tell people like, girl, guess who told me to call them? You know what I mean?
Wow.
I've been there. You know what I mean? Not putting in the work, but just happy to be a part of it. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. We got to do better, y'all. Like, I had learned all this through my own story, that it sometimes we can make our own self in our mind, where people was looking at me like, they just like, oh, this girl got it. She got the answer. She know how to get out community. She know how to do this. And in my mind, I'm like, I ain't got shit together. I'm from the hood. You got to talk different. You know what I mean? I don't dress like them. But when I walk in a room, I had somebody say to me like, yo, you really demand a room. Like, when you do a panel, you demand it. And I was like, what? And I would never forget, I was in DC and I did a panel, and I was on there with all these people with all these titles. And when I got up, I had a line of people waiting to talk to me. Everybody else didn't have a line. And my mentor came to me and was like, you see that? But in my mind, I'm like, what they want to talk to me about? What do I have? You know, like, so I had to learn how to love me. That's what it called. It's called really loving me, because I was so used to people just looking at me like Nelly from Pilot Grove, right? And even though I got all these skills and I have the education and all that, I didn't push it into my soul, into my blueprint of who I was. It was just on my sleeve. I never pushed it in my soul. So now they're going through processes of suffering, and God is tired. He like, come on now. I didn't put you through too much. You've been through suffering. You've been pain. You've been through distress. You've been through hardship. What are you doing? Like, you got to do something now. Come on. So, and then just putting people in your, like you in my life that's poor, like, what are you doing, like how we met, like, honestly, stuff like that. And people just align like, all right, why is you still here? That really push me into the next level. But if we don't do that and allow people to do that, and if I could have sat there and just got attention all the time, or just fed off of, just me, all right, girl, I go here and people line up, I wouldn't be my authentic self, and I wouldn't really be collectively healing a community. So always, y'all, I'm telling you, I was my own monster in my mind, my own monster.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Yo, and Cam, I agree with you. Cam said that I never really had many questions because she explains things so well and it's so agreeable.
Oh, thank you, Cam. I be telling y'all before I come in here, I be like, God, what we gonna talk about today?
No, you be mad.
I be doing all the time. But it's important because in everything to y'all, I never come to y'all with something I haven't been through. Because I understand how to be a kid in Baltimore City and have some of y'all have great families, and I'm blessed that y'all have that, or living in great homes. And I thought I was too, because I was living by myself, basically taking care of myself. And at the time, I thought that was living. Like, oh, ain't nobody can tell me nothing. I'm an adult. And then what it did for me as I grew up, it really, really damaged some of my social and emotional skills. And I didn't realize that until I became a mother. And two, I started really allowing all the things that I'm learning to seek in my soul and not just wearing it. And I was like, wow, I'm thinking I had it all. Like, I had a boyfriend, I had a couple of dollars. I thought I had it all. Yeah, I went through abuse and all of that. But I realized that the hood make us think it's okay. It make us feel like it's right. Like, this is what we supposed to do. It's okay, like, where all my homegirls had baby by 19. I thought that was the norm. When I started going to BCCC and started meeting people that was outside of the neighborhood, every time I would talk about, girl, yeah, I did this and this, they was waiting for me Monday like this to come back to school. They thought my life was a story. And I'm sitting there like, but this is what we know, right? I mean, I'm literally, y'all, they be like, what the hell? So what happened this time? And I'm saying to myself, this is what we lived through. Yeah, we might see the drug dealers, yeah, we did this and did that, but in my life, it was the norm. Didn't realize how much unknown it was, y'all, until I was like hitting 29. And because it was so many people that I was meeting that wasn't from that neighborhood and that wasn't from just a Baltimore scene like that. dealing with hustlers and doing other things, that I ain't really think that. I just thought that's what we do. So when I think that's what had to come with my insecurities too, because I was used to being in a set where everything was the norm that wasn't healthy for me. So when I get into a set that is healthy and around people from a different way to think and a different whole everything, I was really afraid, because I was like, this is not where I'm supposed to be. But the whole time God was exposing me, pushing me to say, listen, I need you to start saying some other things. I need you to do some other things. So my friends for a while ain't even know I was going to school. And like, yeah. And so one of my cousins that I grew up with, one day she said, because we would go to the clubs, we would have a good time. And she was like, I said, girl, I got a meeting. I would never forget. And she would tell us story. If I could get her, she would come in and tell y'all. And she was like, a meeting? Because that's when I was a commissioner. She was like, girl, you ain't got no meeting, whatever. Like, whatever. And I was like, okay, we were just coming from the club. I was like, okay. So then I was like, I graduated. She was like, graduate from where? Like, people ain't know. So what I did was, as I'm going through my journey, I had to take her to one of the mayor's. We used to go to the mayor's gala. When I used to go for free tickets, $500, I would go free. So I took her. And she came and she was like, oh, you was for real. And I was like, yeah.
Hey, yo.
Like, yeah.
Oh, you was for real.
So what I realized was I was pushing my greatness down to continue to be part of something that God was pushing me. And he was saying, you can't take that with you. But you keep trying to come back to that to bring it to your next level. And you can't. Because I kept pushing my greatness down to the point she was like, I can't believe this. So now when we out somewhere, she come, let me tell you about my cousin. Now she just tell the world about me, because she like, yo, I never knew that this girl was doing. Because I felt like where I grew up and what I was doing, it just wasn't cool. Like, it was like, all right. But I knew in my mind, I had to do something better for my children. So I had to gain education, because that's what they said you had to do. But believe me, you just need a skill. But I was told, education get you to the next level. So every time I had a child,
I was told.
Like, honestly, I got an AA, a BA, and a master. That's Corey, De'Aaron, and Ava. All of them came with a degree, because I thought that's was the way for me to move to the next level.
Wow. Every kid came with a degree. Yo, that's how you level up. Yo, that's what they told me. This is an interesting comment. I love this comment from Isis. She said, I was just thinking about this earlier. I will stay happily with my mother until I'm financially and mentally stable enough to handle my own.
Yep. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I wish I could have do that for mine. That's a blessing. That's what I want for my children. I want them to stay with me to where, until they mentally and stable ready. Because the thing is, I used to hear this thing all the time. You 18, you getting out my house. Some of these babies ain't ready to go outside. Because most of the time, I'm being honest, we ain't even raised them to be ready. And I realized that too. Like, I heard Corey so much by my daggone hip. Like, she had to tell me she was ready. And I was like, no, you're not ready. You stay here with me. And she had to sit me down and was like, no, ma, I got to go. But I had to go and apologize to her, because it was some things that I knew I didn't prepare her for, because I wanted to be the mom that I didn't want her to feel the pain. But now I realized my children, just like I have my story and I have my own pain and my own suffering and my stress and my hardship, I have to allow my kids to go through that so they could be their best them in the story God gave for them. I can't shelter that. I tried to protect it. I tried to hide it. But as they got older, I can't do that. And I learned that. So I had to learn, just, let them go. But I still had to apologize, because I knew, because I didn't have a parent to pour into me, to have me be, together, that I had to learn that through the world. And so I was scared. So I was like, my daughter ain't go through anything she want. I'm going to find my way that I'm going to get it for. And I'm like, she ain't going to go through that. But now I really get it. It's a process.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate you saying that. And that's why, like, even me, as a mentor why I'm so hard on the kids that I care about, because for me, I kind of understand that, yo, if I'm hard on you and you can survive me, anything that the world throw at you, you're going to be good. And I
Yeah.
don't ever want anybody to look back on their experience with me or with HeartSmiles and say that we didn't prepare you for what it really is. So like we got, kids out here right now asking for money for this, that, and the third. Okay, we're gonna give it to you, but you know what? Pay it back, because that's what's going to happen in the real world. People sitting up here, with other different little things, and we not just making it all that easy. Like, do your part, at least show up, because that's what you're going to have to do in the real world. But yeah, I appreciate you for saying that. Even like my cuss outs, like, yo, I'm going to give it to you real, real, real hard.
Yeah.
And this is from somebody that love you, because when you get it from somebody that don't love you, I don't need you to be laying flat on the ground in the gutter, can't get up. I need you to already know how to deal with situations and to get out of those
Or
situations.
when you have somebody who just don't do nothing and just watch you fall, and they got the means to give it to you all.
Yeah, exactly. And Cam over here preaching, she said she can grow now. Talk about Corey. She said sharks only grow a certain amount in a fish tank versus in the ocean.
That is so true. Yes. I'm telling you, that was a hard one to let go, y'all. It was that for all my children to really let them go and suffer their own pain. That was a hard one, but that's because in my mind, because how I grew up, and I didn't have that with my mom. It was like I got to make sure my kids have that, but I didn't know that it's a strategy behind it. Like my kids know I got them now. Like, I had to sit them down and be like, listen, mommy can't do this no more for you guys. You have to figure it out. But the whole time they was looking at me like we was waiting for you to say it. Like we was only taking advantage because you was letting us. Like we
Wow.
would have figured it out. That's basically what they said. Like we would
Wow.
have figured it out. But I got it. I'll do it. You been stressed out doing it. Yeah. So it was like, mommy, we would have done it. We just
Wow.
you don't allow us. So I think too, we got to break the cycle. And that's what I wanted to do with my children, to break the cycle, to let them know that suffering and pain is just for growth. And it's not for us to fall down for it and put a hand out and say, I need something. It's for to say, I got to get through this and I'm going to get through this. And they know that mommy right there, if it get too bearable and mentally for you. But doing that, if it's not, and even if it get a little hard, you got to push through, because I'm not going to be here for the rest of my life. And what I don't want is that I leave this world and my kids trying to figure it out. And because they wasn't taught about suffering and pain, they gravitate to people who will take advantage of them for them to get that feeling that they accomplished something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's crazy. Man, you
Listen,
ain't doing that.
I be trying. I be trying, but pain and suffering, y'all, when you see people in pain and suffering, you just gotta let them know that if you're cool with them, and like this is a process, this is a part of growth. Even when we talk about death, like death is real. And one thing we have to understand, like we not here forever. Like that's what I tell people, like, yo, we not here forever. You know that. It's the beginning date, the day you born, and the day you die. The important part is that dash in the middle. What you done? And if you have no dash, then you were just a waste of time. Because,
Yo, I said that on the Jewel like 2 weeks ago.
like,
And I love it.
like if you don't have none of your dash, if we go to your friend and all they got in there is like, oh, they went to high school and they was a great person. That's all you got? Then you didn't waste the time. You didn't waste the time, and death comes, like, and it may come when we expect it. It may come when we don't expect it. But from that, learn from the lessons you had with that person. That's why I always tell people I love them too, because I understand that death come at any time. And sometimes we just don't know that. But what you want people to know while they on earth, that you do love them, and that you appreciate them. It's just the small things. And so but also know that you may grieve, because that's who we are. We are human and we are connected to people. But we also have to understand we can't live in that suffering. Because all we doing is, I see a lot of people when death occur, they go to smoking more, drinking more, just doing things like you be like, wow, you was doing that a little bit. Now you just took this to a whole nother level. And then what happens is it pushes down your gift. It pushes down your ability. It takes your suffering, and now your suffering is your everything. Your purpose just left. Because now you living off of just suffering. Every time you talk to somebody, yes, my grandmother died. Or, like, I get it. And I understand the pain. And if you can't get through it, it's therapists out here that are great. And as I tell my daughter, when you go to therapist, always remember this. You the boss. You pay that check. So if you don't feel good, don't feel bad about it. Because that's just like providing, you don't want nobody to say they clean up your house and then you come in your house ain't clean and you paid them. So you go to a therapist and you feel like you ain't get what you want, you can say, you know what, I don't think this for me. And you find you somebody else, because that's the time you in charge. You in charge of you. And if you can't get what you need, it's not making nobody feel bad when you're going to therapy sitting there for an hour and you know you're not getting nothing out of it, but you don't want them to make them feel bad. No, this is about you. Get what you need, because maybe you need another step. Maybe HeartSmiles is not enough for you mentally when it comes to grief or your mental health. It's okay. I'm telling you, so many people that I could wish I could just give out cards and say you need it, but they so afraid, because what I realized, people are afraid to face the suffering, because sometimes suffering comes with underlying issues of, oh, when my mommy was younger, when my mother ain't say how she loved me, or it's some things that come back. You be like, you holding on to that when you were 6. So you gotta be okay with just exposing you with you. Sometimes we don't even look back into our past of things that hurt us, because we know it bring pain and it bring memories, but we gotta address it, because when you get older, I know so many people that make over $100,000 and are mentally lulu. I mean, ain't got all their brains, but can go into a meeting and can kill it, can get money for their business and all that. But when it comes to social skills, man, I tell you, they be, so how, I don't know what to do, because they haven't addressed that part in them that needs to be addressed from a child. All they did was just dress it on up, got their degrees or got their business or got their money up, as they call it, because the people, some think money can just change everything. If I get this much money, I ain't gonna be worrying about my mother not loving me when I was 4. That's a damn lie. Because then them guys that go through that's why they go through girls so much the way they do. That's why they don't love like they want to. That's why they don't do certain things. So that's a lie. You have to address that. And it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, that's deep, Miss Angler.
Yeah. It's real though. It's real. When you look at the president, we could tell he needs some love from when he was a child. Somebody needs to just grab them and just put them in their arms and say, you know what, we love you, babe, because ain't nobody never told you. You can look at certain people and just see, I can tell exactly where your pain coming from. Ain't got nothing to do with this. So you have to be okay with suffering. We have to be okay with going through the process. Suffering, you're going to be angry. You're going to be sad. You're going to feel less than. You got to go through all this. And not only that, not only we doing it for us, but if you're trying to have kids and legacy, you got to learn how to pass these jewels on to your children. It's a lot of kids that stay in the same house with their parents, and their parents don't know nothing about them. Don't even know they downstairs on the success sessions every day. Don't know, that maybe they ain't doing their homework, or they got a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Don't know nothing about their child. But that's what we want to change in our community. We want to get the family back. It's been broken. And I'm gonna always say it's designed to be broken, right? And I'm gonna just say this: come back from suffering, from slavery. That's why we got us in them. So when we was in slavery, what they do? They take the man away from the woman, and they made the woman, do some things in the house and some other things, and they took the man and put him in a cot. So what are they doing now that they did in slavery? They are saying, when you have a baby and y'all ain't making enough money and you not what they making, you put him on child support. What happened when they're on child support? Now he's a slave to that check, to making sure that his kids get what they have. So now what happens? He gets paid $500, child support take 3. He has $200. So what most guys say, I'm not going to work because what's the point? I might as well hit the block where child support don't hit my stuff. You got to think about all the stuff of how this trickled down to where we are. And if we don't change it and we don't expose what's going on, we're not breaking those cycles. So you still gonna have people that look like us, especially men, who's suffering in pain and in hardship. And everybody said, well, why you got baby over here? Why you got baby over there? Because that comes from some things in childhood with his parents. Who knows about that? And he's just trying to figure that out. It's just so many things that goes on that's deeper than just us. We were born and we just came into this place of suffering. No, it's in our genes. But you have to remember too, during slavery, we got through it. You know what I mean? Like some of us, I think about when I watch the slave movie, like, would I be able to go through that? They was going through it. And they would still go back to wherever they was after cleaning all day, no shoes on, and still sing their songs and chill with their friends. And I was like, would I be able to do that? Like, God knew what world to put me in. Because I don't know if I would have been able to survive. Like, my mouth, and I just think about all of that. So
don't say my mouth.
Yo, I'd have been like, these, it just would have been a mess for me. I'm just saying, they would have got rid of me fast. But you have to think about every time someone's born, they born in the time of year for them. And in that time, we have a mission. That's why it's important in that dash, you do something before you leave. You're not a waste of time. And I tell people, I am not about religion. I'm not about, who you believe. I don't care who you believe in. It's just about their spiritual experience and you being human. Everybody got experience. I don't care what they say. Even those who say they don't believe in nothing. Okay, then you have some type of feeling inside yourself that you feel a human connecting with somebody. So it's just about, what is that dash? How do we go through this dash? How do we get to our purpose and our gifts? And how do we, when it's on pause, understand that what we're going through and the suffering is just a pause. It's not our life. It's not eternal, and it's not something we're going to take to the end till we die. Unless we choose to. Because there's some people that, you be like, dang, they died sad. They was always complaining. They was always talking about being stressed. They ain't never had it. I don't want us to be like that. I want it to be like a party like that. Well, we know when Miss England, when she did what she said she was going to do on Earth, and she was happy. Like, that's what it's about. So we have to be conscious of how we treating ourselves when it comes to suffering, and how we treating ourselves when we might have made a mistake. Don't be too hard on ourselves. That's the point. It's a process. Don't be like me either. Don't get all the goods and just wear it on your shirt and don't put it in your soul. Like, I went through that lessons for you guys. I did that. So if I could come and tell you what that looks like and feel like, it's like wearing 2 masks. Because I can go outside and be with my homie and chill, but everything that I got that I knew was for the next level was on my shirt, and I would take it off. But then when God was put me into another place, I had to put that shirt on. But remember, the shirt was on, but my soul was still like, this ain't where you're supposed to be. I was going back and forth. So I want you to be confident, and then you're going to have times that you don't feel confident. But it's okay, but that's when you use the strategies and talk to yourself out of it. So this one right here, y'all, I'm telling you, Sarah T.D. Jakes, if she would let me make a commercial, I'm telling you, but he hit it on the nose. And I was like, I got to bring this message back to you guys because it's so much for me.
Oh, that's a powerful message, Miss England. And man, it's like our time just be going by so fast.
That's what I was thinking, like, wow. But I be in the joint because I just be in the flow. And that's what they call, the flow, when you can just go and just bring light into the conversation. You ever been with somebody be talking and you be like, where they going with this? Or even if they do jump to different things, you can't catch on, and that ain't the flow. The flow is like, we can go to different spaces and it come back together, but we all are enlightened and we are all connected through the conversation. That's the flow. And I realized that it's only a couple of people that could do a flow. Everybody can't do flow.
Yeah. No, you ain't even lying. You ain't even lying. So what you leaving us with, Miss England? What's our jewel, man? How we closing out this good old winning Wednesday?
We closing out understanding that our suffering is not pain. It's just a process. Just remember that. Our suffering is just a process. It produces the best of them. It will allow you to understand your purpose and your gifts. But do know you may be on pause through the suffering, but only to go through the process. That's it. Don't be attention seeker during the suffering. We ain't doing that.
Definitely don't be an attention seeker. We got too many of those. It's sickening, man. It's disgusting.
Yeah, because it's a bottom line. Everybody looking for love.
Disgusting, man. You can't say that's right. It's always a flow here. I know that's right.
I appreciate that. Yes, we need that. That's why I love HeartSmiles team. We always flowing.
Man, always. Well, thank you so much, Miss England, for
Right.
another powerful session. We'll see you back next Wednesday. Nelly on a mission.
Yeah.
Winning Wednesdays.
Y'all need me, y'all know where I am.
All right. Thank you, Miss England.
All right, love y'all. Bye-bye.
Another powerful session, man. Love Miss England. Winning Wednesdays. That's it for the day, y'all. Can you've been rocking all day, man. Talk about a committed young leader, committed to success. Like, sheesh. And I'm excited for your session tomorrow too. Yay, yay. Cam and Lamar hosting a session tomorrow. So really, really, really excited about that. Their session is going to be at the 2:00 hour. So y'all already know what it is, man. Success sessions, that's the place to be. We start at 10 a.m. tomorrow, bright and early with Miss Simone, and we going all the way till 3:00. And then tomorrow is Thriving Thursdays. So I'll see y'all back for Thriving Thursdays too. Yeah, Isis, so glad that you enjoyed it. Yeah, Cam. I see she had made a comment earlier with Miss England. A very deep and valuable comment too. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much for being here, Isis. I hope that you're gonna come back. I'm glad that you found it informative. I hope that you stick around with us. Come to the success sessions tomorrow. Like, yo, that's where we really have our fun and really get into stuff. But thank you so much for joining us tonight. This it for me, y'all. I'm officially off duty. So I see y'all tomorrow starting at 10 for success sessions.